All right, Jenny, we are live. All the
We're
best.
live now.
Yep.
Namaste, everyone. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Now, today I'm going live right here on YouTube, offering some free psychic clairvoyant readings, past life akashic records, animal communication, and whatever messages that I'm hearing from spirit. Now, I get messages in many different ways. So if you would like to ask me a question, let me know what your first name is, like what zodiac sign you are, if you're like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Sag, whatever it is, and then ask me like more of a specific question rather than saying, what do you see? So that way you're going to get your question answered properly. If you want more of like a full blown out reading in a lot of details, then you can always book more of a private session with me, soulworkwithjeni.com, because I'm not going to give a full, explicit, detailed reading here because readings are like personal and private. So I very well could be seeing certain things for you. Let's say that I'm like, you know what? I don't need to tell the whole world what I'm seeing for you, right? So that could be a little bit uncomfortable. It could be a little bit embarrassing or whatever. So I'm not going to do that. So that's why at times I hold back from what I'm seeing for you more specifically, just to let you guys know. So you can ask me any questions. Now, June we is a very powerful month. So if you look back, if you guys follow my YouTube channel here and reflect back onto my weekly Cosmic Vibes videos, I talk about what's coming up every single day, how we can utilize these energies, what days we can manifest, what days to definitely not have certain things done. So when you take advantage of these energies, the energy works with you. Like I will purposely plan certain things on certain days, right? So even when I had my surgery done, and I'm like, okay, that surgery better not be scheduled on like a new moon or full moon. So there's certain days that work better than the others. So look back onto June 20th. That was the day of the solstice energy. Now, that solstice energy, if it was winter season or if it was like summer season for you, look back onto that date if you can remember. That was a powerful date. And that week was a huge opening for you and a major breakthrough. Even myself personally, I was like struggling, trying to control certain situations, which you should not do. And I'm like, you know what, Spirit, I'm at that point where I'm like, you know what? I want an answer right now. Like, seriously, right now. So I get very blunt when I talk to the spirit world, especially when I get upset. So I was sitting outside on my balcony and I'm like, I need an answer right now on what direction I have to go towards. So literally, I think it was, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 minutes later, I went inside because I didn't have my phone on my balcony. And I thought, I'm just going to check my messages. And there was my answer right there. I had an email come in and there was my answer. And I'm like, enough of this crap, right? So that day, literally, everything changed. Everything changed because I'm like, you know what? I have to trust in divine timing. And sometimes we want to speed things up. Sometimes we want to, make things happen before it's time. And you should not do that. It's like jumping in the middle of the ocean without paddles or like water wings or whatever it is, and trying to swim against those current waves. So when you're trying to work against the flow of the universe, it's not going to work with you, right? Seriously, it won't. So, you know what? I'm like, I just surrendered and I'm like, okay, I wasn't happy about it. I'm like, I'm done. I have to surrender. Like, I literally surrender everything. I work towards my goals. I set goals. and I'm like, okay, yes, I'd like this to happen today and that to happen tomorrow. However, God has the timing. We might not like God's timing. However, you have to just let it go. You have to surrender. And when I did that, things literally, I was like, all of a sudden I had all this energy, and I'm like, you know what? And every single day, I literally like 16 hours a day, I was working on something. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. Right. And then I sat back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can completely understand why this happened the day it happened, and why the solstice energy, which was connected with this whole entire month. If you look back to the June 6th new moon in Gemini, what you guys were doing that day, you would have seen more results coming through on the 21st, the day right after the solstice, which is still energetically connected with that solstice energy. And I'm like, oh, no wonder. It made perfect sense. And from that time on, things really started to flow much better, like flow much better. Like even yesterday, to give you another example, I was out, I started something brand new that I've been meaning and wanting to do for a long time, but I was fighting against the flow and I surrendered it. So I went to my appointment and I saw my doctor, and I come out because I'm starting something new, long story. So I come out in the parking lot, and oh my gosh, I like back in November, I bought a brand new car because I had no choice. And there in the parking lot was my old truck. I had a Honda Ridgeline. I love my truck. I called my truck Chuck G. His name is Chuck G. And my friend actually over in Kashmir, he says, Jenny, I have a name for your truck when I had got it. And I'm like, ooh, what's the name of my truck? And he goes Shakti. And I'm like, oh, that sounds so cool. I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, Jenny means truck. So I laughed about that. And I'm like, that's so cool. So I named my truck Shakti. So, anyways, years go on and so on. And I traded it in for my car. And there in the parking lot, as I was coming out from my doctor, there was my truck. And I know my truck because it has a certain spot on it that it holds rust. Because as soon as I saw it, I'm like, and sure enough, it was. And I'm like, oh my God, spirit. That was the sign right there of letting go of the old and embracing the new. This is a universal 8 year, which is all representing you. So, I mean, of course, we have to balance things out with our family and our friends and our work and so on and so on and so on. However, you have to make sure you take time out for you and for yourself, because if you don't take time out for you, there'll be consequences. Like even myself, my health was affected. I was really long overdue for my surgery. I gave all of my energy to everybody else. I gave all of my energy to my dog, and I put myself in the corner. And then I'm like, after my dog passed away and everything, there's so many things I needed to do. Surgery was one of them, which I wasn't looking forward to, but I did it. I got it over with. I got it out of the way, still healing. I got to be careful. But, when I saw my truck yesterday, and I'm like, oh, I mean, I loved my truck. I miss my truck. However, I'm very grateful for my new car, right? But we get signs, from the universe. Like I always ask the spirit world, please give me signs. Even yesterday or a couple of days ago, actually, I was on my balcony again. And there is this huge moth, like we're talking really, really big moth, not a little guy, not a little moth. And I'm like, okay, now that's another message. So moth, of course, with that energy, it represents transformation, that I'm going through a big transformation, which I am, right? So I've embraced the transformation. Now, when we go through different transformations, it can be really challenging. It can be very rewarding. We can have obstacles in our way. We can be like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? It's like all of those, exhausting steps to do this, this, this. However, it really comes down to how do we take a look at it? Like, this is why actually I have my background as Ganesh, Lord Ganesh, right? Like, I have a huge statues of Lord Ganesh in my place. I have a lot of art and such like that. So I did that on my recent Cosmic Vibes video, because on this week's Cosmic Vibes, for those of you who actually listen to it, you will understand why I have this week been, removing obstacles, working through challenges, because this is a week actually you're going to be really honoring the light of your soul. You're going to be working through your energy. You're going to be, transforming yourself. You're going to be transcending through these obstacles when you surrender and trust the spirit world. You really do. There is the other side out there. I talk to spirit 24/7 a day myself. So it's trusting that process. So anyways, I can ramble on as I'm saying. Now, this moth that I talked to you about, that moth represents transformation. And because the moth, it wasn't just a little moth. This moth was absolutely huge. It was like, I'm like, oh my God, is that thing real? Oh yes, it was. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes perfect sense of this huge transformation. As it's kind of cool because way back in 2012, I go into deep trances every now and then. And way back in 2012, I went into this deep trance. And I was shown by the spirit world when I was going to pass away, how I was going to pass away. I was showing the whole entire event. I was shown many things, let's put it that way. And what I was shown from the spirit world, no other reader who has ever given me a reading has ever picked up on what I was shown by the spirit world. And so far, what I was shown has happened and is happening. And it's really kind of cool right now, in a way, that this transformation that I just talked about, that I'm going through, that I'm starting, it is connected with that prophecy, which I was shown by the spirit world too, by the way. However, when that time comes, let's say, because I know exactly where I'm going to be, I know exactly what I was showing. So, and I've been wanting to go to this location for years and years and years. And every time that I've been wanting to go, I've been getting delayed to go, right? So this shows me right here that, maybe when I go travel to this location, that I'm going to be feeling it more. So if I'm ready to just say, you know what, I'm ready to go, then I will do this. Then I will go that direction. And if I'm not, I'm going to be like, okay, spirit, remember what you showed me. I'm not ready yet. Right. So anyways, we have a question here. Let me put my glasses on, even though it's right in front of my face. I got new glasses, by the way. But anyways, faith we have. Faith, Aquarius. I need to know about moving to a new home and the decision I need to make within the next 8 months. I just saw an actual red ladybug with 6 dots. Very rare here, but an important sign for me. That's so cool. So again, Faith, like, you're very intuitive as it is, number one. And with you moving, I'm really hearing that the direction that you're moving towards, you're going to like it. It's going to be much better for you. And what I would do actually, and especially whenever you said 8 months, 8 represents abundance, I would start writing down very detailed, specific details into like where you want to move to, what you want in your home. Like, be very specific. Like, I would write, I want to be in a really good, safe area, a neighborhood, a really good location, have really good neighbors. I want to be able to afford it with ease. I want so many bedrooms and so on and so on and so on. And make sure you're very specific and detailed, because this energy of this year with the dragon year of the dragon, the universal 8 year, it's a huge year to manifest, huge year to manifest. So write it down, because you are walking towards and into a whole new era for yourself, and you're going to find, and I'm going to talk about this person I just saw. I don't know if you know this person or not, but I'm literally seeing there's going to be a person. What is his name? I might pronounce his name wrong. I don't know if you know him. Javier. He was in Eat, Pray, Love with Julia Roberts. Javier Baton, I think he's Spanish. I'm literally seeing the Spanish, more kind of like Spanish. He could speak 2 or 3 languages, by the way. He has, like he looks more Spanish, right? Energy around you. And I'm literally seeing for some reason that you're kind of walking around in your new area when you move, by the way. You're just walking around, just like that Julia Roberts type theme where all this, I don't know if you saw the movie Eat, Pray, Love, and you're going to run into him somehow, like not in an accident, no. And he's going to start talking to you and everything like that, and you're going to feel that connection with him. Whenever we meet somebody that we don't know, it doesn't matter if it's male or female, if it's a child, if it's like a 80-year-old person, age is irrelevant. So whenever you meet this person, you might feel that familiarity with him of, I don't know why. I feel like I know that guy somehow. I don't know who he is. So kind of listen to him, because he's going to kind of give you those little bit of tips with this and that, and something about a window. I don't know if you're moving into a place or something, like something with the window could be stuck or something. Maybe he could help you with that window. I never know what messages I'm coming through. It might sound a little bit crazy for you, but especially with that, like with the ladybug and such like that, like the ladybug wants you to really pay attention, to something more unique, right? Like especially with 6 dots, of course, right? 6 represents the 6th month of June. This month, June, really reflect back to, because there's been a lot of profound messages for you. And the worst thing that you can do is start freaking out and worrying about your moves. Like, don't do that. Like, seriously, really start creating, seriously, like a vision board for you. Be very detailed and specific with what you want. Be very specific, because you're going to see that when you do that, you're going to attract. Like I, found a place that I was going to move into myself, and everything was right there. And then I forgot one of the biggest things, and I'm like, oh my God, like, why didn't I put this down on my vision board? And it made perfect sense. So the spirit world had stopped me from moving to this other location, because I was actually at my hairdresser the other day. I never watched the news. And the place that I was looking at had burnt down just recently, like the past couple of weeks. And I'm like, oh my God, like that was one of the buildings I was looking at moving in. So whenever there's delays, trust the process, because maybe you're supposed to move in a whole different direction. So you might even find that you might even move further away, babe. So really pay attention. Really pay attention to what you want, because your creativity is going to be coming out a lot more as well, literally coming out. So I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of more insight to that. Okay, Miss Death Pinna, 1313, that's a unique number for sure. I'm on the Virgo Libra cusp, rising in Gemini. Well, that's really kind of interesting. And a Pisces moon. Oh my gosh. So you got a lot going on there. I'm curious to see if I will be purchasing a home in the next few years. Well, again, it really depends. So it's really important that, especially whenever we want to create big goals, right? Like we can have all of these small goals and we can have big goals. Like on my vision board, I write small goals. and then I write larger goals. Those larger goals are going to take time. So it's like, okay, to buy a home, it's like, all right, now look at where you want to move to, let's say, and look at the prices of homes. Like home prices change all the time or whatever like that. And just say, okay, what realistically is my budget, whatever it is? And then do start doing research now. How much of a down payment do I need? Is it 5%? Is it 10%? Wherever you are, it's going to be different, of course, right? So, and then say, okay, Spirit. So let's say, for instance, I need to have $20,000 for down payment, right? Like, I don't know how much of a down payment you're going to have or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Go in your budget. So it's like, okay, so for an example, if I need $20,000 as a down payment, start planting that. Right? You can't sit back and say, well, somebody will just give it to me or I'll just win it. You can't do that. If somebody gives it to you, if you win it or inheritance, great, that's a bonus, but you can't depend on that ever. So it's like, okay, I'm going to set myself a goal for 3 years from now, for instance. 3 years, I just heard, by the way. So if I want to save up $20,000, I'm going to like, maybe open up another account specifically like a savings account. And every month or paycheck or whatever, I'm going to at least put away so much money per month. So figure out the math of, okay, it might take me 3 years to get $20,000 saved. Let's just say as an example, how long is it going to take me to save that money? Do your budget. Do your budget. Because even if you throw in an extra $50 a month, let's say if you had an extra $50 and you're like, you know what? I can hold back on that $50 of normally getting this done. Yeah, but $50 isn't going to, yes, it does. Yes, it does. An extra $50 in that saving account, it all adds up. It's those little steps that adds up. So start being realistically of, okay, I'm going to have to put away at least $100 a month, let's say, or I'm going to have to put away 500, like whatever it is. You have to really focus on that because when you set your goals to something, like I've just, what I was just talking about, I don't know if you're listening or not, right? I've had to reset my goals for myself and being more realistic. I had to set longer term goals for myself due to where I live, in Canada with its horrific government, right? So I have to, readjust things. So it's like, okay, so now I have to make more longer term goals rather than short term goals because of how the government has placed people in Canada. I don't know if you're from Canada or not, right? So it's looking at reality and staying in your means. But yeah, I can see you buying a house if you stay focused. If you stay focused, right? You have that creativity in you. And I'm also hearing, I'm literally seeing you writing for some reason as well. And you need to take a little extra time and rest a little bit more as well. You don't want to burn yourself out. I heard somewhere like more in a quiet area, like if it's a community rather than like a city setting, if it's like a different area, let's say, or even if you're in a city, but it's a whole on the other side of the city where it's really kind of a quiet neighborhood that doesn't seem like that city feel energy, because I'm literally hearing more countryside, more quiet side rather than the hustle and the bustle of like the city noises and stuff like that. Right. So be realistic with what you want to set goals towards. We can always retweak a vision board. So even my vision board, everything I have on there, certain things I've already done, I've checked it off. And now that I've had to kind of reset things, I just write it a little differently. Or you might be sitting back and saying, I'm also hearing educating yourself too, by the way. There could be something that you could get drawn into studying a little bit more, I'm hearing, because I'm seeing books. I'm literally seeing books. And also faith, by the way, if you're still here, it's almost kind of like I feel like kind of wobbly with you. So it's like when you're kind of walking, you might feel a little bit swayed a little bit. So whenever you're kind of feeling a little bit kind of more lightheaded, try to hug a tree, no matter how that sounds. Seriously, trees have their own heartbeats. There's many different ways to get grounded, and even hugging a big tree. You know, anytime I do paintings and stuff, I'd always have a tree in it. I actually sold one of my paintings like quite some time ago, mind you, and it had a lot of these really cool mystical trees. So the trees will really help you stay grounded even more so. So I hope that, kind of give you a little bit of, like insight, because when we set goals, we can't sit back and depend on I never depend on anybody. You know, I have to keep moving forward and doing my own thing. And we can have different people around that we do count on for certain things, of course, right? However, you have to really kind of take a look at yourself and say, you know what? I have this and this and this going on. However, what do I want? How am I walking forward? How am I making these changes? Because the only way that anybody will really see any type of change is to make change happen, right? So, all right, Kate, Kate, Kate. I like that. That's very cool. Kate, Capricorn, Leo Moon, Virgo Rising. What do I need to know to tell my dentist? Oh, what work is needed for dental issues? You don't need to tell your dentist anything. Your dentist should automatically know, for goodness sakes, right? I have a really hot dentist. I don't like dentists. I'm freaked out about dentists, but he's pretty hot. Anyways, I don't think he'd be watching it here anyways. But yeah, don't worry about like your dentist will take a look at whatever, and then he'll or she will say, this is what I'm recommending and this is what has to be done. Your dentist knows best, really. Don't even get me started on dentists. I have to go under gas. When I was under gas, right, when they gas you up, here comes the look walking into the room, and I'm like, how? He goes, don't worry, Jenny, will be okay. And I'm like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm pleading the fifth. I was under gas. So yeah, so I do see you getting your teeth worked on. I do see that it'll take a little bit of time and such like that. Go on your own comfort zone with whatever. I don't know if you have any like coverage, medical coverage or anything like that. Look at your budget and what's all involved. But I do actually see you going through quite a big transformation, especially like with health, physical health and such like that. So dental work is part of physical health, of course, right? So even my glasses, getting my checks, that's physical, taking care of your physical self and such like that. But yeah, no, your teeth will take a little bit of time and such like that. He might even suggest braces for certain stump or whatever. It just really depends on what you want. They'll give you a couple of different options to choose from. And it's really, really important to go by what feels right for you, because you're very intuitive, by the way. Geraldine, I'm a Pisces moon and Gemini rising. March 8th was my grandmother's birthday. I was very close with my grandmother. She had passed away years ago, but my boss just received a promotion and will be replaced. Will I be happy with the new person, or will it make me want to look for something else? Anytime there's change, we can kind of be like, oh my God, now what? Like, now what? However, what's really important is to, first of all, be very happy for your boss that got promotion. Everybody deserves happiness and peace on this planet. We've been through enough, right? So whenever somebody gets a promoted or something really good happens for that person, you should always be happy for that person, always, right? So the new person that is coming in, you might butt heads a little bit, to be very blunt and honest with this person. However, you have to give a new person a chance, because when somebody new comes in, that new person has to learn about the company or learn about the computer system or learn how things are done. So when this new person comes in, they're going to be nervous a little bit, right? Of, okay, I got responsibilities now. Especially when it's a management or manager, somebody higher up, they get more and more and more and more responsibilities. So the higher somebody gets up in a position, they get more and more and more position or work, more responsibilities, and so it's like an owner of a company. They're the ones that are working really, really hard because they have like so many tasks to do, right? So you have to show a little bit of compassion towards that person and such like that. That person might be like, hi everybody type thing or whatever like that. So don't judge the new person whatsoever. Give that person time to fit in, get comfortable and such like that. And don't judge anybody, right? Really sit back and give that person a chance. Because I know sometimes I get it. You have some trust issues and such like that. You've been hurt from what I'm hearing. And you can automatically put your guards up like that right away whenever, somebody new comes in. But you have to really tune into your heart is what's really important. Show more compassion towards somebody, show them support. The new manager, they might be struggling with something, how to figure something out or learn something. If you can help them, offer a couple of suggestions as well. Welcome new people in, try to help and work with people and such like that. Unless that person is being really inconsiderate and rude and stuff too, that's a whole different story, right? So just be more open because, yeah, you could bump a little bit of heads with that person. I'm just saying, I'm keeping it real. Give it a chance, give everything a go. You could change jobs later on if you really, really want to, by the way. So even towards the end of this year for you, I'm hearing in the October, November, you could even have a new opportunity come to you with work, by the way. Maybe they might promote you a little bit where you're at, or you might even hear of something else that you might get gravitated and pulled towards with a new job. If you do really pay attention to that, because I'm hearing that would be really beneficial for you. There's a lot more benefits and could be a lot more money and stuff. But keep in mind, the higher position you get, the more responsibilities you're getting. Sometimes we can just work, 9 to 5, let's say, for an example, and then we go home. When it comes to a manager or an owner, that person is working all the time. Like I usually work myself 14-hour days, right? Because I work on so many different things. So I'm 100% self-employed. So I'm always working, right? There's good and not so good things with that. It just really depends on what you want, what you're looking for, and go by your own comfort zone, right? So Daisy, please, any general advice from my grandparents, anything I should know? Okay, when you guys ask me something specifically, so Daisy, ask me something very specific, right? Like what sign are you, number one? Are your grandparents, are they alive or have they passed on? What is your grandparents' first name, right? So I need to know a little bit more information. Be able to help you guys a lot more. So how many of you guys look back into June 20th from the solstice energy into where you are right now? Right? See where you were from June 20th, 21st. Where are you guys right now? Like you're going to find that this week, you're really going to be a lot more intuitive. You're going to be like celebrating a lot more. We have that new moon in Cancer coming up here, by the way, on July the 5th. So you might find that Cancer, Libra, Aries, Capricorn, you're going to get a lot more affected, those certain signs, than the others. Like we all get affected in new moons and full moons. All of us do. All of us do, right? Like one of my clients is a doctor, and I asked her, I said, now, your hospital, she works in a hospital, and I said, does your hospital, do you get more suicides in that day and issues? She goes, yeah, how do you know? And I'm like, the full moon, a new moon, we get more emotional. There's more passings on a new moon. If it's with your loved ones, if it's with your pets, we get more emotional. Like if I'm driving or something, I try to avoid driving on the full moon, to be honest, right? However, sometimes we do got to go out. So sometimes if you notice, like some car will go speeding past you and I'm like, holy crap, that guy or person, they're having a really, really bad day. Really, really, really bad day, right? So It's wearing hematite. Like if you guys wear any crystals, like I'm not. Oh, I do have hematite on. I do have a little hematite on right here, right? So that will also help you stay grounded a lot more. You're going to find that even the first week of July, you're going to be doing a lot more reflecting and really, really pay attention, because when you're dreaming at night, especially this week coming up here, you're going to find that you very well could get messages from your ancestors, from somebody that has passed on that you know, if it's a friend or relative or one of your animals or so on. Really pay attention to that message. Like sometimes it's like, keep a book right beside your bedstand or whatever like that, because as you're waking up from those delta waves and alpha waves and all of that, you're kind of still in that zone with the spirit world of kind of in that dream state a little bit. Write it down, because there's so many messages in there for you. So when this new moon comes up on the 5th, you're going to see those results coming up on the 21st of July, more so on the full moon. So what you're doing that day, you're going to be seeing it coming through on the next full moon. It works like that. So certain times, like new moons are all about new beginnings. New moons can be a lot more powerful than full moons. So when you guys are writing down your intentions, do it every day. Don't wait for the full moon or new moon to take advantage of that energy. You can really utilize that energy a lot more during that time and during that day. Like I talk about this on my weekly Cosmic Vibes video. Every single day, how we can work with the energy, what days are not so good to work with, right? You're going to find that your intuition is going to be opening up a lot more this week. You're going to be really creative this week. So for those of you who have had like certain projects, let's say on the back burner, you might find that this week coming up here, you're going to be a lot more focused on it. You're going to be like, I really kind of want to work on this project a little bit more. I'm going to take time out for me. I was working on one of my projects a little while ago, and my phone kept on going off nonstop. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't concentrate. So I just turned my volume off and I put it aside. So it's really important to take and block time out for yourself, because if you don't, you'll get distracted. Like literally, I was so distracted. I was really focused on doing what I was doing. And that completely threw me right off track with what I was doing. And I was so upset. And then I'm like, okay, whose fault is that? That's my fault for not putting my phone on mute. So little things like that, pay attention to, because I'm saying this to you guys for a reason. We have to set boundaries. Like we can get back to people and, our loved ones and partners and whatever it is. Of course, it's balancing everything a lot better. So it's like blocking time out for you on purpose. It's like, okay, if I want to work on this or work through that, I'm going to block it off. I'm going to, I'm going to spend 2 hours, let's say this morning, working on this. So when you start doing that, this is when you're going to see your projects that you're coming towards, that you're working towards. This is when you'll see things are going to happen for you. When we think about this and we think about, I'd really like to make these changes. Gosh, that would be great. That's awesome. Start writing it down. Oh, Jeni, I got it in my head. I get it. However, when you start writing it down, you're creating a foundation. You start building a foundation to, what? I really want to go here if you want to travel somewhere. I really want to go here. Okay, do the research. How much it's going to cost? Do I need a visa? Do I need this and this and this and that? What's the average price of like a hotel or accommodations, whatever. Do I want to rent a vehicle? what's the dollar, all of those things. So you got to start doing research ahead of time to say, okay, this is the amount of money I need. It's like when you're buying a home, right? Whenever you're like, yeah, am I going to buy a home? Well, you have to work towards that. But I'm going to win a lotto. Well, that's awesome. We all would love to win a lotto. Who wouldn't, right? But you can't sit back. Depend. I knew somebody that said they're talking about building this huge mansion. It was like a $10 million home. This was years ago, a $10 million home. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty like, like a big home. I said, so what are you doing? Like, how are you going to make that happen? Oh, I'm winning a lotto. So, and then when I talked to him, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, right? It was a few years. Ran into him a couple of years ago. I said, oh, did you buy your home? No. I said, well, why not? I'm going to win that lotto, Jeni. I said, oh, I said, how's that? The house plans coming along? Well, actually, that house wasn't big enough. It was only 10,000 square feet. That's not good enough. And I'm like, who's going to live in the house? Oh, it's just going to be me. I'm like, okay. He says, actually, I've doubled it. So we can have dreams, and dreams are healthy. It's like, how badly do you want that dream? Anybody can make things happen. It just really depends on how badly you want it. It depends on, is this realistic for me? I've written down things on my vision board of, I'd like this, and I'd like that, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And then as the little time goes on or whatever like that, sometimes things shift. And it's like, I thought I wanted that, but I don't want that anymore. So I cross it off. And people are like, well, isn't that, bad? And I'm like, how would it be bad? I'm like, it just shows me what I don't want anymore. That's all. And so on and so on and so on. We can get shifted at any time. There's a big decision I had to make yesterday with my doctor situation. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go this direction. And I made up my mind 2 weeks ago, I'm going that direction with this. So it was the day before, and I'm like, no, I'm not going that direction. So when I went to my doctor yesterday, okay, Jeni, we got everything. And I'm like, no, I don't want that direction anymore. This is the direction I want to go. And they're like, oh, okay, we weren't prepared for that, but okay, exactly. You have to listen to your guru, your soul, your inner GPS system. Your GPS will guide you in the right direction. So I'm like, oh, dear God, be with me, right? So anyways, Stargazer. Oh, that's a cool name. Will I get a new home? October 10th. I do see a home for you, but right away I heard, yes, you will get a new home. And I kept on hearing springtime, by the way. You might want to kind of move. If you rush into something, you might regret it, but you'd be okay. However, I immediately heard springtime for you. I don't know where you're at, but it very well, like spring, like March, April, May, where you are, wherever springtime is for you. But yes, I definitely see you moving. I'm seeing the place being a lot bigger for some reason. And for some reason, I'm literally seeing you. I love the name because I literally saw you sitting outside, like kind of like on a log, right? Like, so nature somewhere. And there's the sky gazing into the stars. So it's very cool how you said your name is Stargazer. I don't see you so much in the city. I'm seeing you more in a quiet area, to be, very blunt with you. You'll find that you'll do a lot better in a quiet area, is what I'm seeing. So if you don't rush it, you'll thank your, that old saying of, the wait will be worth it. And sometimes you're like, I don't want to wait. However, the wait will be worth it. So don't rush it. But yes, I do see that new home coming for you, and you'll really be happy. I'm actually seeing you painting, like being very creative, by the way, in your new home. Like if you're going to paint it or do something very cool with it, very cool, be very creative, surrender. I've seen it really, really cool, actually. So, Sharon, February 26th, Pisces Sun, Leo Moon, rising Cancer Venus, Aries. Thank you again. I don't know what you're asking me, Sharon. So ask me a specific question. You guys, if you want to know something, please ask me a specific question. And then I'll answer your question, right? So you guys start writing things down. Like July, seriously, like we have a full moon in Capricorn, on the 21st and 22nd. And those signs right there, even just on that full moon, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius will be affected even more. And you're going to find out that what you're going to be doing on that new moon on the 5th, you're going to see come to more fruition as well on the 21st, because you're really going to want balance even more. So, Elaine, hi, Elaine. What do you see a partner? Do you see a partner for me? I do, I do see somebody coming for you, and I'm actually already feeling there's somebody already around you, that it's very much around you already, Elaine. Give it a little bit of time, because I'm hearing fire energy. This person could have kind of like that fire energy. So it could be like a Leo, Aries, Sag. And this person can really change your life, by the way, in a really, really good way. They've been through a lot. They've really been through a lot. They have no time for games. And if you are interested in that person, let them know, like, let them know a little bit more. He's like stable, more stably financially, he works a lot, very focused, independent. Yeah, I do. I actually do see somebody coming around for you. So it'll take a little bit of time, but seriously, he very well could change your life for the better, like for the better. And you guys might even be able to kind of put your heads together to even create some type of like a partnership as well in business. So I do see that for you, yes. Kim, any message from spirit? Kim asked me a specific question, like a very specific question. Any messages? It can be anything. I can say anything, and it might not be something that you want to know. So it's better if you guys ask me a very specific question. I hear right away that you're very intuitive, by the way, and it's really important to not. It's really important for you to open your heart more. You've had your guards up with certain people, and I mean, I get it. However, keep your heart open. There can be different people that we don't care for, but there's no reason to kind of be pushing back and kind of be a little bit not so nice. So open your heart a lot more. You're very intuitive, is what I'm hearing. So you have to ask me a specific question, you guys. So you're going to find also that in July that you're going to be seeing more things coming synchronicity wise for you. And you might even make some like physical changes, because we have a lot of goddess energy. And that's for guys too, right? So the guys could maybe change the way they dress. Maybe they get a new hairstyle. Maybe they change like a cool new pair of glasses. And even women, you might find that you could, it's like that goddess energy, enhance who you are. You got to start loving who you are unconditionally. If you want to find a new partner, you have to love yourself unconditionally in order to attract someone who's going to love you and want to be with you unconditionally. Because if you don't, you'll settle just for anybody and you could regret it. And there's no judgment on that, because we all have our own journey to go through. Poodle Jam. That's a very cool name. Will I retire in December? You know what? I'm really hearing that for you to retire, I don't see that. I don't see you retiring fully. No, I really don't. It depends what you want to retire in, but if you decide to retire, whatever you're doing, I'm seeing you going. I don't see you like retire and that's it. No, I don't. You're going to get involved in so many other different things. So it just really depends on what direction you really want to go towards and work towards. If anything, I'm hearing a new adventure waits for you. I'm seeing travels for you coming in. So I'm hearing business. I'm actually hearing there could be some type of, even next 2025, there could be some type of creative business that you might want to tap your fingers in, self-employment wise, to get involved with. Even if you had millions of dollars, let's just say as an example, I don't see you retiring on that. I'm literally seeing things will continue on, like things will literally continue on. So it really depends on what you really want. I don't see full retirement for you. No, I don't. So there's a lot of responsibilities coming this month as well. For in July, you're going to find that if you don't open your heart and show compassion, it's going to backfire, especially in July. So even if there's certain people, as I mentioned, even to you, Kim, that were like, you know what, I don't like this person, I don't like that person, or whoever. Never wish anybody like bad karma. Don't ever do that. We all have our own journey. We all make mistakes. We all have lessons to learn and such like that. And it has nothing to do with you. How somebody treats you is their karma. How you react is your karma. So there's certain people that are going to regret how they treated you in the past. So you're going to start seeing people in July, especially, I would say mid-July to the end of July, certain people from your past, you guys are going to notice that is going to come back. We can have people from our past come back and like, hey, how's it going? Gosh, it's been forever since I talked to you or since I saw you or whatever. And there can be people coming back from your past that you're like, this isn't going to work for me. I'm not interested, or you know what, I might forgive you only so I can move on in peace, but that does not mean I'm going to reconnect with you and hang out with you again. No. So sometimes we have to spend time with someone from our past to learn hard lessons from, or to maybe rekindle something that we're like, I had my eyes on somebody from years ago, let's say, or now that person's single, and who no never know. You never know, right? So you've got to kind of flow with this energy this month, and especially in July. And don't ignore certain family responsibilities and obligations this month. It really can backfire on you. July is going to be a month of, supporting others, showing others unconditional love and compassion as well. There's so many things that are going to happen in July. I talk about it on my other videos and even in my prediction videos of certain events, and really kind of be careful, listen to your intuition, especially whenever there's a large crowd gatherings. I know, of course, like Canada Day, July 1st, and then there's, like July 4th for, the people in the US, and so on and so on and so on. Just kind of be a little extra mindful with large crowds and such, because, things might not go in a certain way of what you're really hoping. So if certain things or events, let's just say, if something tells you that day, I'm not going to go to those events, political events especially, I don't know, something just kind of told me. I told you guys, it's kind of like that water year. I talk about different events especially connected with the water. And those events have been happening. I talked about that in my predictions video for this year. I think it came out in December last year, January, I can't remember. A lot of those things have already happened. And there's a lot more things that are coming. So if you guys want to go into the water, please, please be careful. Being an animal communicator as well, I talk about the sea life. There's been more attacks. There's a lot of energy and things going on underwater. This is why our sea animals are attacking even more. Like I think there's actually another shark attack in Hawaii. Somebody died. I think it was a couple of weeks ago or a week ago or something. Right? It's our sea animals, sea life are tired of what the government is doing. So I'll keep it at that. So they're acting out. They're acting out. So waters also, don't go swimming alone in the ocean or a lake. Bring somebody with you. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of things happening. Mother Nature, when Mother Nature wants to strike and talk, it will immediately. It doesn't care who's around. There's messages everywhere whenever we are open to receive those messages. How many of you guys are kind of like, I'd like to go boating, or I'd like to go this and this and that. And then something might be like, something's just telling me that, wait a minute, I better kind of hold on. I mean, I love the ocean. I'm like that tropical, love the ocean, sunsets, beach, and so on and so on and so on and so on. I actually got a project that I'm going to be working with someone with that. So it's like, okay, let's just kind of scan the energy where that is. Let's just take a look at what's going on with that and then move on. So we all have that intuition. So when something's telling you not to do something, don't. You might be like, I don't know, something's just, I have a bad feeling about this. I don't know what it is. Listen to that. But I don't know what it is. Don't worry about, I don't know what it is. Right? You can always book a reading with me, soulworkwithjeni.com, because I give explicit, very detailed readings. So when we're here on YouTube, I give you a little bit of insights and such, but I do hold back because if there's certain information that I see for you, I don't want to embarrass you or make you feel uncomfortable as well. So I do hold back on giving certain information. Nobody wants to be embarrassed about what I'm seeing for that person or what's happening and so on and so on. So really start focusing on what changes you guys want to do. Doesn't matter what it is. And it's really important to surround yourself with people who are supportive in a positive way. You could have like, I figured out what I want to do with my life and these are my dreams. And then all of a sudden you could see somebody or somebody could call you, you could go meet somebody and you say, yeah, this is my plan. This is what I want to do. That person could say something to you and you can be like, oh my God, your dreams ended because you allowed that negative energy, negative entity to come into you to stop you from your dreams. So who you surround yourself with, you become. Swati, can I have a reading? Hi, Swati. Please give me your astrology sign and a specific question. A specific question. I need a specific question. I don't do full blown out readings because if you want a full blown out reading, you can book privately with me. Kim, I'm visiting my son in Northern California, not near the ocean. I appreciate the advice. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Right? It's like have fun visiting your son and such like that. California is under, there's a lot of shaky energy, as I call it, in California. I've not ever been to California, but I have many, 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 many appointments, or I mean, many, 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 many friends and clients and associates in California, right? It's a little kind of shaky and stuff like that. So, it's like visiting family and visiting friends. July is the month where a lot of family situations can come full forth. There could be a lot more passings in July. So I'm not saying that's going to happen to everybody, right? Anything about my future spouse, how he will be. What do you mean how he will be? Um, how he will be. What do you mean how he will be? Right? Ask me something specific, like how he will be with what? What's the first name of your spouse? Right? Like a specific question. How he will be, like in what area, with his career, with his health, with um, you know, we have to be specific here, you guys. You know, I expand things in a private reading, by the way. So right, he's got to, first of all, whoever your spouse is, I'm hearing you know, exhaustion. I'm hearing that your spouse needs to rest a lot more. I'm hearing health concerns immediately, right away, right away, to be very blunt with you. I'm not going to go on and on about health because that's private. But your person needs to drink a lot more water. I'm hearing your person needs to set huge boundaries because your person is exhausted. Bottom line is immediately what I heard right away, like right away. So I don't know if that helps out or not. Um, but yeah, just a huge kind of a red flag right there of concern, really highlighted. You know, so if you guys want a lot more specific details, you can, you know, like always book a session with me. I'm just saying, right? So take care of like family this month in July. Always take care, of course. You know, you might see a lot more family situations come up. July will be a month for a lot more exposure coming through as well, right? I even talked about, I think, Trump's health in one of my predictions before. I don't even remember what I talked about my predictions because there are so many things I talked about. There's a lot, so many things that are going to happen. Like there's so many more changes now on our planet than there has been in over 10,000 years. 10,000 years. That's crazy, right? That's insane. So it has affected everybody. You know, with all of the bullshit, to be blunt, that's going on in the world. So much has been exposed, and the truth's coming out, and more and more and more and more is going to be exposed and exposed. You know, people are standing up more for their righteousness, and you're going to find that you're going to speak out even more in July. You know, I rant and rave on my Twitter account. I go right after the so-called leaders. You'd have to follow me on Twitter to see what I really say. Because I'm very blunt and I call them out and they're bullshit. When I'm having a moment and I'm like, I want to have a little fun, right? So I do got to watch what I say on my YouTube channel because I don't want it to go down. So I do hold back, right? But yeah, there's some certain issues that are going to be coming up here for July, and August could be a month where there's going to be delays. There's going to be communication issues, you know, technical issues in August, which I don't like. So I'm online all day long, of course, right? For those of you who work online. So you might want to hold back from huge purchases in August. So it's just kind of balancing things out. You're going to see people from your past coming back, as I mentioned, mid-July, and so on and so on. There's a lot of new things happening. There's a lot of people that even just recently that have come back, surprises coming. And there's a lot of magic in the air, magical opportunities, especially this week, actually, where pay attention to the new doors that are opening. Like I purposely opened up new doors myself on specific dates. So the energy works with me. And I'm like, okay, that's a date I want to book this. That's a date I'm going to work on that. So you'll have to like subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch the videos because I give specific dates of how to really utilize these energies. You know, I had somebody reach out and said, you know, me and my family were experiencing like, you know, issues with our arm or issues with this or issues with that. So, you know, you can always book like a one-on-one session with me at soulworkwithjeni.com to get so many more details. I give so much details down to the last core. You know, if you want to meet somebody, I'll tell you what the person's going to look like. You know, past life, I combine your past life in, you know, so you guys will have an understanding. So now, so like I'm saying, for you guys who do want to book a reading with me to get a lot more details, go to soulworkwithjeni.com. Follow me on Instagram, Jeni Ji Cousins or Jeni Cousins. My team puts up a lot of information there with certain events and videos and all kinds of things like that. And I'll follow you right back. So stay tuned, you know, and subscribe to my channel, because this is when you're going to get a lot of notifications with when a new video is coming up or an event or something like that. And, you know, we'll post or whatever, whenever, you know, we'll be going live again, you know, to do, you know, more free readings or whatever. There's a lot of things I'm working on right now as well. So I want to thank you all for tuning in and connecting with me here, right here on YouTube. So check out my other videos, because you'll see what the energies are happening every single day, what to work with and what not to work with. And, you know, like I'm saying, if you want a private reading, reach out, soulworkwithjeni.com, and we'll talk about it and get you booked in and give you a very detailed reading. So thank you again, everyone. I'm very grateful for every one of you being a part of here right on YouTube. Thanks again, you guys. Namaste.